Okay, guys, Matt here. Hope you're good. It's day one of our 5-day Mastering You challenge, and so really glad that you wanted to get involved in this. So a bit of an overview, firstly, with this video, and then we're going to go straight into the questions. So firstly, the premise is basically around this idea of mastering you, which is the name of the group. So understanding who you are, understanding why you do the things that you do, because often a lot of people, that is where the barrier is. They say things like, I don't know why I do this, or I try really hard to stick to my diet plan, or try really hard to eat a certain way or exercise regularly, but I fall off track. So it all starts with understanding why we do the things that we do. And as mentioned in an email that I just put out last week, is it does all start with you. And so basically taking what we call ownership of that that concept really, and having the courage, I guess, is the big thing. It's one of our 5 C's. We've got clarity, and courage is one of them. Confidence is another. Capability is another. But courage helps build confidence, because without plucking up the courage to do things like telling the truth, for instance, which is what I'm going to talk about now, it's very hard to make progress. So that's where I want to start. I'm going to share a couple of quotes with why I'm a big fan of this idea of telling the truth. So number one, the truth will set you free. That wasn't said by John Appleseed. I don't even know who Johnny Appleseed is. I'm not actually sure who said this, but it's something that I think about a lot. The truth will set you free. We like to, humans have a habit of unconsciously not telling the truth, because sometimes it's painful. It's, if we fail at something or we don't achieve a certain goal, we like to tell ourselves that, excuses of why that was. Another one that my favorite is this one: all progress starts by telling the truth. So it's slightly different, same concept. This is by a guy called Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach. So he's a massive proponent on telling the truth. So the idea of this 5-day challenge is to help you craft what we call some transformational coaching questions that will help bring out the truth. Okay, because it's easy for us to say or use a term or concept like telling the truth, but actually in the real world, you're busy. Everyone's busy, and kind of actually sitting down and taking the time to think about this, and how do I actually do this? Do I have to journal? What do I have to actually do? We're just going to give you a few questions. And so, it basically, in getting involved in this challenge, all we ask for is commitment to do it. So 10 to 15 minutes a day. Okay, so you can either, write down your answers on a bit of paper or on a computer, whatever works for you. It really doesn't matter. And just give yourself that time for mastering you. Give yourself that time to actually spend some time reviewing and reflecting on these questions. Okay, so let's dive in. So, done those already. So, day one of mastering you. So here we go. So, number one, what is the single biggest thing causing you the most anxiety, stress, or frustration in your life right now? Okay, so this, and obviously by answering this question, anything that's causing you anxiety, stress, or frustration is really going to help you move forward. Hence the quote, all progress starts by telling the truth. Because if you are experiencing any anxiety, stress, frustration, but you're kind of putting it off, or you're pretending it's not really happening, okay, and you're just allowing it to prolong. This is what a lot of people do with anxiety and frustration and stress, is they put off telling the truth about the situation, whether it's that awkward conversation with a boss or a spouse, whether it's that difficult realization that you're not sticking to the habits or the meal plan that you should be. Treats or snacks are creeping into the diet. Whatever it is for you, the problem with what we often class as like a white lie. So it's like just a little thing, oh, I had a biscuit there, but that didn't really happen, or whatever it is. The problem is those white lies end up building a bit of a monster eventually. If we keep putting off those white lies, those little things that we don't think is too big a deal, eventually it can build and build and build, and often that's when these massive arguments happen with couples or at work. You know, if they just nipped it in the bud and told the truth from the start, that would never have come to that. So what is that thing for you? What is the single biggest thing causing you the most frustration in your life right now? Write that down. What I would suggest with these little videos is to actually click pause. So click pause now and then come back when you've done that. Okay, so hopefully you just come back from answering that first question. So the next one is, after taking the answer to that first question and identifying what the biggest anxiety or stress is, I want to ask a different one. What one thing, just one thing, could you do to make this anxiety either disappear completely? So it might be something simple. It might be literally getting that conversation with your boss over and done with, whether you're asking for a raise or whatever. It could be anything, or it could just be dissipate. So just to lessen it, or at least be relieved from. So in terms of being relieved from, you're at least making some progress towards, basically. Okay, so that's the second thing. Okay, so just hit pause there, get that written down. Okay, and then so on to the last question now, guys. So the last one is the big one. It's one that you probably need the most courage to gain in order to answer. So what's stopping you? What has been stopping you from already doing this? Because the chances are, whatever the answer was to that second question, you've known about for a while, plus the first question as well. So this is where the magic really starts, is what has been stopping you from doing this already. Okay, so for a lot of people it can be, I don't want to give you too many examples because that often has a bias, but for some people, if their biggest anxiety was or stress was they just wasn't sticking to any meal plans, they wasn't getting any weight loss results, then what one thing could you do to make this anxiety disappear would probably be to put a meal plan together, or actually plan your meal for the week. And then what's been stopping you from doing this already, prioritization, most likely. Just not been prioritizing health, not been prioritizing your food. That's just one example, but for you it could be anything. It doesn't have to be anything to do with diet. It could be exercise, it could be relationships, it could be work, whatever it is. Get that down, and yeah, if you want to comment, feel free to. Okay, but otherwise, just let us know how it feels to make some progress in some of those struggles or frustrations that you're currently having. That would be as valuable. So let us know in the comments in the Facebook group below, and we'll see you again tomorrow.